Hi, I'm Joshua Chan, Academic Dean of Legend College Preparatory. Today I'll be talking with you about your course of study and why it's such a critical component of your child's college aspirations. Your course of study represents the academic activities you've completed in your high school years. There are three ways in which it represents you. First, it shows the degree to which you've challenged yourself, and this demonstrates how prepared you will be. Second, it indicates how your education has aligned with your intended major. If your classwork makes sense for your trajectory, it demonstrates how positioned you have become. Lastly, your personal experience and uniqueness of education indicates how you'll contribute to your school's learning environment. This demonstrates how prominent of a candidate you are. Here at Legend College Prep, we help our students attain preparedness, positioning, and prominence with tested consultation and the institutional infrastructure to help students execute upon their plans. Now you should be asking, what can I do about my course of study? Well, unfortunately, the answer is that at a public institution, you can only do very little. Let me show you why. Consider how students show preparedness in their work. You would be challenging yourself with AP and honors classes. However, your first 2 years have very limited space to prepare. Your freshman year coursework is all but predetermined, save for an elective or two. And your sophomore year access to APs and honors is limited due to a prevailing assumption that students aren't ready or mature enough to handle things on an AP level. That makes the junior year your first real chance to get your challenging classes done. Unfortunately, other pressures such as doing the SAT or ACT also coincide for this year. It's a ton for students to suddenly shoulder. Lastly, any courses taken in the senior year have a diminished impact as you'll have already completed your applications by the end of the first semester. In other words, a class in progress makes less of a statement than a class that is already completed. Now let's compare how that would sound for me to say, I have completed my AP Calculus BC course with an A, versus I'm taking my AP Calculus class right now, I don't know what grade I'll get. Now, of course, that's not a student's fault, but you still have to keep in mind that you're competing for your spot at your target school, and comparisons are made. Trying to be prepared under those circumstances is really challenging. Now, the second factor, positioning, still requires that all that challenging coursework that you're taking has to be aligned and relevant to your future pursuits. But if we go back to those constraints that you have in the junior year, you'll also see why it's going to be incredibly difficult to position yourself well. Stacking challenging classes creates a dilemma. The more you take on, the lower your performance might be. Spreading limited mental and emotional resources is tough, and that further forces choices that constrain what a student can accomplish. So what might a student do? Maybe they'd go easy on their math so they could focus on their social sciences, or focus on chemistry at the cost of choosing biology. Today's fields require students to be trained and exposed to multiple perspectives and disciplines. Some of you parents might have also seen this trend occurring in industry as well. So given that, do you really think that your students can afford these types of constraining opportunity costs to be not well-rounded or not well-positioned when they're in high school? I think that makes the constraints at a public high school look more and more unappealing. Finally, a public institution's one-size-fits-all approach limits the prominence any student can achieve in their course of study. The situation we're describing here applies to so many students that many students end up going down the same road and accomplish the same limited objectives. When you're going to a competitive school, even grades are less distinctive when everyone's a high performer. So are you stuck? Well, the answer is no. And we at Legend College Preparatory free you up to do so much more, without necessarily having to give up the benefits of your public institution. Now imagine spreading the burden of challenging coursework over a period of a few years, rather than concentrating everything at the 11th grade. With entry-level AP classes for freshmen and more options to select from in the 10th grade, the junior year is now far more manageable. You also don't have to worry about stress versus performance in such a crucial year because you simply have less on your shoulders. You develop a much more compelling course of study by starting early. Let's take a look at this sample schedule of a 9th grader at LCP. This is just one class taken during the school year, but they'll have completed an AP course at the end of their first year in high school. That shows that they've challenged themselves and they already stand out among their peers who aren't able to accomplish the same thing. If they repeat a similar process in 10th grade, they'll have lifted 2 APs off of their shoulders that they otherwise would have had to wait until the 11th grade to do. These are classes now that they don't have to stack. Furthermore, Legend College Prep allows you to finish your coursework over the summer. And that's right, we're so effective and efficient here at LCP that we can take you through one entire course in just 6 weeks, with a lot less stress than you'd experience over the course of a year at a public institution. If a student starts early and just takes one class per session with us, as you see here in the graphic, they'll be able to complete 5 AP courses from freshman to junior year, a number of classes that few students would ever achieve at all. And yet it becomes perfectly reachable because we've removed the constraints that challenge everyone else. In the history of this school, we've actually had students who start early with us manage anywhere from 7 to 10 AP classes completed. They've challenged themselves more, their coursework is well positioned and well rounded, and because they're less stressed, can you believe that? They're actually less stressed. They end up doing better in these courses because they're working smarter. And that gives them the type of breathing room to grow and be the kind of unique, prominent candidate that they want to be. Our data shows that, in fact, our best students are finding their stress manageable. We still keep our standards high, but we also set you up to attain those standards. And at the end of it all, our students will find themselves happier because they're not overloaded. Again, working smarter, not harder, by piling all of their challenging classes into their 11th grade. Now, what about you? Are you ready to get a leg up on your course of study? It's never too late. We've helped many students turn things around in a meaningful and manageable way. Sign up today at legendcp.com or reach out to us at consult@legendcp.com and make a plan. This is an incredible process that we've been able to put our students through with proven success. I can't wait to be able to share this with you. Take care.